OneMDHealth, where science meets soul. I'm Dr. Samiya Hashmi, and let's be honest, healthcare, it's a mess right now. We've got 10-minute visits, a pill for everything, and somehow people are still left exhausted, inflamed, overweight, anxious, and not getting real answers. So, this podcast, I designed it where we actually talk about these issues. No fluff, basically, no bullshit, as I like to say. So, not pretending everything is just fine. I'm bringing on doctors, entrepreneurs, business partners, you name it, you will see it. Physical therapists, nurse techs, nurses, you name it. And I want my guests to really break down what's really going on with your body, your mind, and your soul, and what's really happening in the healthcare field. Some of these conversations will be very educational, some will be uncomfortable, some will challenge you, but I promise you one thing, you will be left with something that you did not know before that happens in medicine and actually in overall life. So some will be actually funny too, to be honest. If we don't laugh, what are we even doing? So I would really like to introduce my first guest, Dr. Sabrina Indyk. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Perfect. I am so happy to have her on here. She is a medical doctor, a doctor of internal medicine, and by far, look at her, she's fabulous, right? She's absolutely beautiful. But what I love about her, she is a girl's girl. She is about female power, female empowerment, and I'd love to have her on here to talk to her and ask her about what it was like to be in corporate medicine, to be a medical doctor, and to be a strong, attractive woman all at the same time, and what her journey was like in building her own business. So, welcome, Dr. Sabrina.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here. So,
Appreciate it.
oh, absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about what brought you to start your own business and what it was like and how you felt about the whole process.
Yeah, so we're going to get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to even be on. So let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat it. It really wasn't a choice. I was forced out.
I see.
Yeah, we were pushed out. We worked for corporate medicine for about 13 years, my partners and I.
Okay.
Well, some were there longer, but I was there for 13 years. And we were very busy. I was seeing like 30 plus patients a day.
Wow.
So, I wasn't, watching Love Island and eating bonbons in the break room. Like we were really hustling, like you said, 10, 15-minute visit.
Right.
I would be exhausted. I'd be staying late, coming in early, never on time. And one day, corporate medicine told us, they were bought out by private equity. And they told us they wanted to meet with us one morning. And I definitely was not ready for that conversation. Mm-hmm. There was no writing on the wall. There was no warning. Mm-hmm. And they just came in and they dropped a bomb. Wow. And they're like, we're closing your clinic.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
No warning.
No warning. And the person that did it, we had never even met before. They flew them in from another state, wow. Some stranger, and he had a smirk on his face when he told us that we're closing your clinic. Right. And I thought it was an April Fool's joke,
right.
And
yeah.
Those that know me, that I like to joke around.
Yeah.
And, I was nervous about this meeting. And in my head, I'm like, are they closing our clinic? I remember they sent out an email saying that they might be relocating us to not panic. So
they told you not to panic.
Yes.
So they weren't honest.
They weren't honest. And that night, subconsciously, I was just like reliving everything in my mind. And I had a dream about it. Wow. And I came in and I was like, I had a dream about you last night. I was like, I hope you're not closing my clinic. I hope you're just relocating my clinic.
Wow.
And then I was like, I hope you're not here to shatter my dreams. I literally said that.
You really did.
Yeah. Those that know me know that I let it out, and I do it with humor. I try to do it in a very diplomatic way, but I'm very transparent.
What did he say to that?
Well, he just sat there with his arms crossed. And he's like, we're closing your clinic down. And I was like, wait, what? Like, is this an April Fool's joke? And I was just really caught off guard, especially because the private equity group is owned by physicians.
Right.
So shame on you.
Right.
Is this how you treat your own kind? Right?
It's really mind-boggling that we really do not have any control over our schedule, even who our bosses are. We are really left in the unknown. And it's kind of like, what choice do we even have? Do we even have a choice in this?
Right.
So when that happened, how did that make you feel? Like what was going through your mind? Were you like, oh my God, like where am I going to go? Where am I going to start? This is all I've ever known. Like what was going through your mind then?
So you're familiar with the stages of grief, right?
Yep.
And anyone can kind of go through them at different times. There's no particular order.
Right.
So immediately I felt shock because I didn't know, like, is this for real? And then I actually asked, I said, well, do we get a severance? And he said, working 90 days is your severance. So it's the conversation, right? Anyone in HR knows that, sometimes you have some difficult conversations, but you have to be empathetic when you have those conversations. Right. So, that was the first thing. And then I said, well, can you relocate me to an area of need?
Right.
And he said, there's no room for you.
He literally said there's no room for you.
Yeah. So now I'm boiling. So now I'm angry, right?
How many years have you been working here?
I was working 13 years. Wow. And, I just want to point out, like, I was one of the busiest doctors in that group. And I'm saying that, because we got the data. So we could see how many patients we were seeing. So I was really shocked. I did not see that coming at all. And, and I was very honest and I said, so why are you closing? And he says, your clinic lost $1 million last year. And I'm like, well, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. And you should have had that conversation with us. We could have pivoted. We could have been creative. But the truth is this, they don't want to pay doctors anymore.
No.
We're too expensive.
Right.
So you can hire someone for far less,
right.
And then we're getting pushed out.
And then the quality just goes down of healthcare. And we wonder why healthcare, unfortunately, has just gone down. It's become sick care. So what made you start your own business, your own clinic? Like, explain to me, like, how did you start it? How is it different, and what you bring for it to be so fabulous? I mean, I already know, but I would love for you to just describe it.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I was really shocked when this happened. So I think because I was so used to working for corporate and having, a guaranteed salary, guaranteed schedule, I started applying and calling, other corporate, hospital groups and talking to them. And when we had that conversation, I was just like fuming because sometimes like they didn't even address me as doctor. They addressed me as Sabrina, which I thought was very unprofessional.
Are you serious?
It happened once with, I won't say who, but so I was like, well, like you're not even treating me as a doctor. And then what they offered me was very insulting.
I see.
So, with the 13 years experience, right? I mean, this is like senior level now. I also, would teach residents. I was very active in the residency program. I was seeing 30 patients a day. I was very well known in the community. So it was an insult. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Like, I was so angry with those offers. They wanted me to, settle for them. And I'm like, no, like that's an insult to me and it's not worth my time. So I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I'll just go private. And, it's funny because my father is a physician and he is in his own private practice. He never recommended going private. Because of the insurance reimbursements. Overhead. People don't know or like see behind the scenes just how expensive it is to pay malpractice insurance, overhead, supplies, employees, different services, EMR. If you don't have electronic medical records, you're penalized for that.
And insurance doesn't pay and reimburse doctors fairly.
No.
I mean, we do know that.
Yep. So sometimes, it's hard to even have a good contract. When you're private practice, they reimburse you less than if you were in a big group.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yes. Because, I could tell you why. So it's all business, right? So they want you to refer within the hospitals. And they want you to send your imaging there. They want your mammograms there. They want your colonoscopies there. We actually bring in a lot of money for these hospitals.
Yeah.
And we know that. But the hospitals don't treat us as like the important doctors.
It's no respect almost.
No respect. We feed that system.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I left, I was like, the way that you treated me, I said, I will not continue referring there. And honestly, just seeing how everything, like you said, got sloppy and just went downhill, I don't feel comfortable referring my patients to certain places because we're losing all the good people. Nobody's putting up with it.
Yeah. So, just to kind of go back to what you were saying about, feeling the grief of the way, you were treated and, going through this journey, especially as a female physician who's very competent, who's very smart and very confident in her skills, it must have just been really, really difficult to navigate that journey. Almost kind of like by yourself in a way. It's like you kind of also almost had to start from scratch after giving 13 years of loyalty to an institution that did not value loyalty. I mean, this is the dangerous thing that physicians are in now.
Right.
And it's like, I remember you and I had this conversation and you said to me a really great phrase, golden handcuffs. That's what she said. She said it felt like you were in golden handcuffs.
Freedom.
Kind of like a bad marriage. Almost, right?
Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yes.
You're brainwashed,
Right.
right? So
they're thinking this is the only way. This is the only way to do medicine.
Yes.
There's nothing else better out there, and you'll be left out in the dust. But then you did everything right. You did everything right. You helped your patients. You were busy, but it's almost like they almost were like, well, that's just still not good enough.
It was never good enough. So let me tell you, like, I cannot tell you how many emails I would get and be like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you need to do this better. And I started lashing out. And at one point I wrote to corporate and I said, listen, my quality metrics are excellent, okay, which means that I am on top of my game when it comes to preventative medicine and taking care of my patients. My admission rates are low. So that means to all our listeners out there, we're keeping you out of the hospital. We don't want you to be in the hospital.
You don't want to come see me in the hospital as a hospitalist.
So we're keeping people out of the hospital and I'm seeing, so many people every single day. So obviously, I'm busy, I'm working for them. And it was always like the smallest thing. And they'd be like, you didn't close your charts on time. You came in 5 minutes late. And that really bugged me because,
You came in 5 minutes late.
Sometimes 15, let's be honest. I have kids and it's really hard to juggle everything and nobody sees behind the scenes. Pharmacies are paging us, patients are paging us. The floors are paging us.
The nurses are paging us.
There's always something going on. We're always putting out fires. And I got so angry and I wrote to corporate and I'm like, you know what? You don't see me at home, like on Christmas morning, after we open our presents, when the kids are playing with their toys, I'm charting. When I'm on vacation, I'm checking labs. I'm literally on my computer all weekend, every weekend.
Right.
My job does not just stop there. And I'm like, you have someone, watching me come in late, but do they know what time I go home at night? One time I left so late and I was so tired that I left my keys on my desk and I locked myself out of the building.
Oh, geez.
And then there wasn't even security on site because it was so late that nobody was even there. So, I wrote to them and I said, you know what? I'm like that loyal child. I'm like that golden child that does everything right. And it's just never good enough for you.
Right.
And I told them that all the time.
Right. Well, you basically told them how it was. And that's the other thing I want to talk about is that people, and it's not even just corporate medicine, but just people in general don't like to be put in their place when they're wrong. And I feel, especially as women, because I can only speak for women because I'm a woman myself, that we are just held to this standard that we have to just take it. Like we have to take it in our personal life and in our professional life. And then even when you give everything, it's never enough.
It's never enough.
And patients don't see that. So this is why I'm so happy to have you here. And this is why this means so much that you're here to discuss this vulnerability as a female physician, how much, we give so much to our patients. We want our patients to heal and thrive and do well, but I don't think patients see what we really go through behind the scenes.
We take it home with us every night. And when we're laying in bed, we might fall asleep and then we'll wake up in the middle of the night and we'll be like, oh my gosh, did I tell them this? Could I have covered this? You know, I need to add this to our next visit.
Right.
You know, it consumes so much of, you know, our heart, our brain, our emotions, because this profession, like, you have to have a calling.
Yeah, it is a calling. I mean, I know that a lot of people may feel, oh, you know, it's just a job, like just compartmentalize it and go home. But yeah, but I don't know. Like some of us do take it home because it is a calling. It's who we are. It's not just what we do. It is who we are. So I want to ask, you know, going back to this is, what is it like being a you know, a strong, confident, attractive female in medicine? What is it like? What do you think the challenges are that females face versus men face? Because that is something I do think we need to discuss in medicine. And I'm talking like, and I'm talking like real answers in fact, and I know you'll give them to me, Sabrina.
Yes.
Because I want to know, like, what is it that we face that men don't face? And this is not a pity party. I'm not saying like,
We're just raising awareness. You
I'm
know,
not saying men don't have their own challenges, but really as females.
yeah, so definitely I feel as women, we're not taken seriously.
Right.
I think one thing that, you know, I kind of mention at home, you know, that might bug me is, you know, if it's a recruiter on LinkedIn or sometimes a rep that comes in, I don't know. I feel that if you are meeting someone for the first time and you know that they're a physician, you know that they worked, you know, they went to school for 20 years for their degree. It's nice to be acknowledged as doctor, as Dr. Indyk.
You earned it.
Right. And, you know,
We
and
earned
I'm
it.
one of those people that's like, call me doctor. And I literally will tell people that call me doctor. I say, you know what? My patients call me doctor. And like, you call me Sabrina.
Right. Because you get to know somebody.
Right. But, you know, I just feel that maybe, I don't know if it's a generational thing now where we're losing the formality.
Yes.
But I can't imagine, you know, calling, you know, police officer by his first name instead of officer, or a judge calling them their first name instead of your honor. And honestly, even within the medical community, I've worked with some of these doctors for over a decade and I still call them doctor. Even my partner at my previous job, I would call him Dr. So-and-so. And he'd be like, call me, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it's a respect thing.
It is a respect thing.
Yes. And I just feel that, you know, it happens all the time. Even recruiters on LinkedIn, they want me to join their practice, or corporate medicine reaches out and they just call me Sabrina instead of doctor. And I just think that's so disrespectful. They wouldn't perhaps maybe not do that to a male physician. I mean,
I don't feel they will. So I want to elaborate on that. And I cannot tell you how that is like my pet peeve too in the hospital. You know, a lot of patients, even like when I come in the room, hey, Hashmi, it's like, excuse me.
Exactly.
It's Dr. Hashmi.
Right.
And even, you know, some recruiters and even some nurses, when they say, hey, Hashmi, it's like, and you know, it's how do you address that? Like, you don't want to come off snotty. You don't want to come off like, oh my God, no, you call me doctor, but it's almost to the point, you know, we earn this. Like, would you say, you know, would you tell a male physician that? Would you call him by his last name? I mean, I work with a lot of male coworkers of mine. They never deal with this.
Right.
And so for me to elaborate on this, and I think this is really important to talk about too, because this is a space, and I think you can understand too. I've also felt there is a lot of animosity in the medical world for female physicians specifically. I feel we deal with male issues in the fact where, you know, we're put down sometimes by, you know, the male physicians and our female partners a lot. So can you elaborate on that? Like, do you feel that you almost have to prove yourself to both almost?
Absolutely. And yeah, I'll kind of maybe address each one separately. But going back, I'll never forget when I was a resident and I was on call like on the ICU, on the intensive care unit floor. And I was paging a specialist, I think he was a cardiovascular surgeon, about his patient. And honestly, it was like a professional courtesy call. Okay, let's just say I kind of was, protecting, the patient. I was making sure that everything was being communicated well. So I was just organizing everything. And I called him in the morning. I paged him, and it wasn't even too early because I can understand people maybe getting agitated if it's really early in the morning. I waited for a reasonable time, and this doctor just like lashed out, and he was just so rude on the phone. And I told him, I'm like, excuse me, doctor. I'm like, I don't appreciate being talked to like that. Honestly, like I'm doing you a favor by calling you. You're welcome. And I said that because I had nothing to lose. Right. And I think, not everyone, unfortunately, feels comfortable maybe standing up for themselves.
But there's always repercussions.
There's always, yes, exactly. So that's just, one thing. Or like I'll notice in the ER, they would call me, hey, Indyk. And I'm like, this isn't, like a fraternity. Like you can call me Dr. Indyk, and sometimes what I'll do, just very nicely, I'll be like, you can call me Dr. Indyk, or...
It's sad that we have to do that.
Yes. And like you said, no matter how you do it, someone's going to misinterpret it and they're going to think, oh, well, she wants to be called doctor. But really, like I said, even my children know to address their friends' parents as Mr. and Mrs.
Right. It's etiquette. Is it not?
Exactly. Yeah. But like you mentioned, sometimes the females are worse than the males. And I feel like there's a lot of hate amongst women, and there's competition, and it's really unfortunate. And, sometimes women will be like, women supporting women, but I almost feel like they're hiding behind that phrase. Yes. Or they want to take advantage of them, or how does this benefit me? Yes, right? Absolutely.
So I'm going to say something, and I'm going to get a little vulnerable here because it does kind of involve you in the fact that I really struggle with finding female friendships. I'm saying it right out there. It's been really difficult for me because I feel that females unfortunately do compete, and they're always trying to one up you, and they're always trying to like knock you down. And the sad thing is we should be supporting and empowering each other. But when I met you, you were literally one of the first female physicians, beautiful inside and out, confident, that actually really supported me. And I have to tell you guys, I actually kind of flinched. I'm like, oh, what's the catch here? Why is she so nice?
Oh, thank you. I get that sometimes
right?
too.
It's like, wait a minute, why is she so nice? So, it's like, it's sad because we have to put our guard up for everything as females in general, like in our personal life, because we're constantly being attacked. If we're in relationships we don't want to be in, we're constantly being attacked, whether it's family, friendships, relationships. So, and then you would think the professional world, people would empower you there. Now, I'm not saying all my female coworkers are like this. I have some very nice female coworkers I work with. I've met a lot, but I know who you guys are. And you are definitely one of them. But it's just the fact that I had to go through 100 to meet 5. It's sad, and it's just, we don't talk about this enough. And, I think that is really, really sad when we feel like we have to tear each other down. And also in the professional world, it's like, we don't stick by each other. We're almost kind of, playing favorites. There's just so much politics in medicine.
And, and here's the thing too. Sometimes the people that you've worked with and you've known for a long time or have been your friends will not be there for you during your journey. And it's funny because, we just met recently.
We did.
And I felt, me too. And I felt your energy and I loved it. And I was just like, first of all, you're smart, you're gorgeous. I love your style. Like, I got to talk to you. And
I felt the same way. I was like, I need to talk.
Thank you. And it's just so funny. We're so similar in so many, all these things are unraveling. We're more similar than we think. Yeah. But, you are my hype woman and I'm your hype woman. Yeah. And sometimes you'll find that in strangers. Yeah. And I feel like it's really cool because you're able to weed out who's there for you from the very beginning, who wants to be along for the ride, who's with it, and it's I'm so lucky to have met you.
I'm so lucky to have met you too. So what would you say to women who are going through their journey, right? That are, whether they're in medicine or in business, or they're just in a job where they're just not feeling like they're being seen. what would you say? What would be a good advice for them? And I want to get into your business too, but what would be good advice for them to have the courage to let go of that relationship that doesn't serve you, to let go of friendships that don't serve you, to let go of even a career that has not uplifted you, because you've done it. You have definitely done it, and you're living that life now, and you are literally showing all of us that it's possible and your dreams can come true. So tell me, what would you say to women right now that are struggling?
Well, that's a good question. I think I would say, first of all, you have to know your worth. And sometimes I think it might be uncomfortable for us to look at it that way, right? Because, I think it's human nature to think, am I enough? Is this adequate? Am I doing the right thing? As women, we're always thinking we could do more, we could do better, we need more time. If only I did it this way, the coulda, woulda, shouldas. But I think you have to think about, what do you offer? And just know your worth and know that that's valuable. And then you have to showcase that to the world. And you have to know that it's going to be difficult, because people that you thought were going to support you are not going to support you. They're going to be quiet in the back. And then you're going to meet amazing people. You're going to meet strangers. They're going to be your hype people. And it's really, really cool. It's a really fun journey. It's very liberating to free yourself from those golden handcuffs.
Yes.
Because because it's almost like Stockholm syndrome.
Yes.
You just don't know what else is out there.
You don't, and you're scared to find out, because
You're scared.
oh my God, what's going to happen?
Exactly. And this kind of reminds me, I don't know if you remember back in med school, there was this like science experiment that they did with a dog. This dog was in a cage, and the dog was pretty much caged up, and electric shocks were being sent through this cage. And this dog obviously was terrified, was scared, but took it. Right. And then after a certain period of time, the scientist opened that cage and wanted to allow the dog to escape, to be free. And the dog was scared, because the dog had no idea what was out there.
Right.
And to think that you could still be in that cage and be like electrocuted and abused. Right. So it's a very powerful experiment. And we're all kind of guilty of being in that mindset.
Right.
Because I didn't know what was going to happen. It was kind of like, well, here we go. I'm just going to give it a whirl, right? And then I just thought, what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
So if you just like kind of sit down and you're like, okay, let me approach it from this angle, that angle, and it may not be as bad as you think, and at least you could try it. And if it doesn't work out, just pivot.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you just pivot.
You always have to pivot with everything.
Because the only thing certain in life is change, right? That's really what it is. That's the only thing that is certain in life, and change. So, I'd like to know more about your business, your practice. I would love for you to talk about it. By the way, it's fabulous, everybody. It's absolutely fabulous. And I love how you incorporate wellness and aesthetics together. So talk to me a little bit about Revive.
Thank you. So I wanted an office, number one, that felt just very beautiful, elegant, but laid back, nothing pretentious. You have these beautiful med spas or spas that you go to, and you just feel relaxed and calm, but you don't see that in a physician's office. So I wanted a beautiful space where people felt like, oh, this is for me. Like, this is really, really nice.
It's catered towards you.
It is. And, even like the small touches. So, you come to my office, we'll offer you a coffee or a tea. I purchased a really nice coffee maker, like an espresso maker. I have Italian beans. I have beautiful porcelain cups. I want my patients to feel special.
Right.
And they are special. And, and we have these relationships. I'm a family physician. So I see patients from womb to tomb.
Wow.
Some of these patients I delivered.
Oh,
They were,
amazing.
during residency, I delivered these babies.
Amazing.
And now they come to me. It's an honor. So, they tell me all their secrets. I know everything. So why not sit on a couch and enjoy coffee, and let's just talk.
Right.
It doesn't have to be as formal, cold, and sterile like these doctors' offices that we're used to.
The doctor-patient relationship needs to come back. That's really what it is. It's just because it should be a place of healing.
Yes.
Not ICD-10 codes.
Right.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. ICD-10 codes. Does your insurance cover this? Does it not? It's just, It's really, really sad that that's what it's come down to, is, and to the point where it's almost like anxiety.
Yes.
And having patients waiting, like to the point where you have so many patients, they're literally waiting hours. Why does it have to be so stressful? Why does your cortisol have to jump to go see the physician?
Exactly.
It does not need to be that way.
Exactly.
And I wish certain insurance would cover that kind of care, but it just doesn't exist, unfortunately.
No. And I just wanted to add that, I do take insurance, but I only take certain plans.
Right.
And the reason why we do that is because these insurance companies are not fair to us.
Right.
And if we are investing our time to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and that we're very thorough, we have to also pay the bills. I don't think, people understand how much we pay for malpractice insurance every year, and even a tail. So maybe I'll talk about tail, because people don't know about tail.
People don't understand how to. This is how doctors get trapped.
Okay, so if you buy malpractice insurance, it's not cheap. Let me just start with that. But then you have to purchase tail. So that means even if you stop practicing, you have to protect your tail. So you have to go back in time. And that is thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Let's just say that. So even once you're done, this is also what scares some physicians. If they work somewhere for a certain period of time, let's say you work at a hospital for 9 years, hopefully they paid for your tail. But if they didn't, that's on the doctor to pay like $90,000 just to get out of that contract to protect themselves.
Right. It's really scary.
It's very
out there,
scary.
and that's why the doctors feel trapped in it. So it's like you said, it's the golden handcuffs. And so I wanted to kind of pivot back to your business. So you do take some insurance. It's not that we hate insurance and we don't believe in insurance, but there are some insurance companies that are not fair to physicians. I mean, if you had a plumbing issue in your house, wouldn't you pay your plumber rightfully? Right. If a roof fell off at your house, wouldn't you pay the contractor? So why do we not pay physicians if we take the time out to hear you, spend time with you, really take care of your health, which is the most important thing. It's more important than a job. It's more important than anything else. I mean, that is that key phrase, health is wealth. So I really commend that you even take some insurance, right? That is actually fair. And hopefully insurance companies will eventually get it, that patients are waking up. They want more for themselves, and doctors want more for themselves. And it's like you said, eventually all the good doctors were going to leave.
Yeah, I think people need to hear this. So healthcare is so sloppy right now. And I tell my patients, if you don't know anyone in healthcare right now that could be an advocate for you, like, you're screwed. Like, let's be honest. And, because doctors are not treated fairly, but also nurse practitioners, PAs, I mean, really anyone in the healthcare system is not treated properly. They're burnt out. They're not being treated well by corporate. So they're leaving, and they're either going to private practice or maybe aesthetics. So that amazing ICU nurse that started your IV and saved your life with pressors and everything, and literally knows how to keep you alive and prevent you from dying, she's going to leave now because she can have a better quality of life, perhaps, working in private practice or doing IVs, nurse injector, moving in the aesthetic space. So we are losing our amazing educated people, but there's no plan to retain them.
No, there isn't. It's because the idea is, okay, well, if you leave, we'll just find somebody younger and more stupid when you were in medical school.
And untrained. And that's when, so I want to maybe share two stories, if you're okay with that. I know I like to talk a lot, so I apologize if I'm
Or don't apologize. I love it.
So I have a patient, and she has been my patient for years. I've been taking care of her family, and she is a nurse, and she told me that she's really burnt out in corporate, and it kind of contributed to her health issues. And I told her, I said, I said, you know what? I might have an opportunity for you. I would love for you to work with me, and I will bring you on my team, and I will make this something special for you where you can feel like you finally have a better quality of life, and you can perhaps make more money than you could working for corporate. And, we were just kind of chatting, and around that time, she got an alert on her phone after the recent shooting in the hospital. So I won't say where, but there was a recent shooting in the ER. And we started talking about safety in the hospital. And she said, doctor, she's like, I cannot even tell you how many times I've been verbally abused. That's another thing we can go back on, being verbally abused by patients. In the hospital especially, but she was verbally abused in the hospital. She was once kicked in the stomach. One time she was punched in the face. And she's even afraid to approach corporate, because what's corporate going to do? They're going to say, well, first of all, fill out all this paperwork, okay?
Right.
And then they're saying, go to this training so you can learn what you could have done to do differently.
Right.
They don't have your back.
No.
They don't stick up for you. And that's what's so unfortunate in the healthcare world, is like, we don't have anyone protecting us. We don't have a union. We don't have people that are supportive of us and, looking out for our best interest. So that was one story that I was talking to you about, the safety.
Well, no, this is really true. And I actually do want to go back to safety, because I mean, as a hospitalist, as a female hospitalist, I deal with the safety issues all the time. Like, we deal with psych patients, we deal with very, very overworked burnout staff. I mean, we're constantly dealing with safety issues, especially as females. What happens if a male patient pulls a gun or a knife on us, which has happened to me actually in medicine when I used to work at a downtown hospital, and that has happened to me a few times. I've had psych patients just lose it, and we're all supposed to be working together, but there's just no understanding of that. And I think that is the issue too, is that, I think we just don't feel seen. And when we don't feel seen, then how can we have others feel seen?
Exactly. Oh, I remember what I was going to say about safety in the hospital. So a few years back when I was teaching my residents, I overheard a conversation, and, they were talking about a scenario that happened somewhere. And the scenario involved a code. So there was a page for the floor to immediately present themselves to someone that needed medical attention. The person needed CPR.
Okay.
And because of traveling positions, right? So non-permanent positions. So someone was just working there temporarily, probably, fresh out of school, didn't have much experience.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to properly perform chest compressions.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a horrific end result. And all I can say is you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
And, a lot of the hospitals are just looking to get, someone fresh out of school. They're offering low wages that don't, right. And they don't have the hours of experience, right? I remember my dad used to always tell me, I don't care how good of a driver you are. If you haven't driven 70,000 miles, you can't call yourself a good driver, because you never know what you're going to encounter, right? And it's the same thing in medicine. Meanwhile, you have your well-seasoned nurses and staff that have been there for years, making less than some of these positions, these new positions. And then they're very bitter because they don't want to train these newbies that are making more money than them.
Right.
So that's another thing for respect, right? There's lack of respect, not just for doctors, but, even RNs, NPs, PAs. So it's just really unfortunate that.
Yeah, and we wonder why, a lot of nurses and doctors are moving away and starting their own business and starting their own thing. Because I think the thing is, we really want to heal patients.
Yes.
We really want patients to get well. But I think we are understanding that we really cannot heal you unless we are actually feeling good too.
Yes.
When we are actually, thinking about our wellness. And this is why I created this podcast, because I want to raise awareness on wellness for professionals, whether you're in the medical world, business world, that your wellness is not selfish. Like, you need to take the time out to exercise, work out 3-4 times per week. You need to be able to have a strong mindset to stand up for yourself, and not just, if patients disrespect you, if staff disrespects you, whoever it may be, you have the right to defend yourself. And it's like, why are we shying away from that? And then also, we have to all love and respect one another. We've lost that feeling of community.
Yes.
And that's why I really wanted to create this space, because I want to create a community.
Yes.
Being part of a community where we all contribute to everyone's health.
Yes.
We all contribute to our health. Like, you are a part of my health because you give me positivity. I'm a part of yours.
Yes.
You know,
We're a tribe.
I'm your head woman. We're a tribe.
Mhm.
But that is wellness. That is nervous system regulation. Where we work, where we feel respected. That is where we feel respected. When we can be creative, like you building your own practice. So I want to close out with this very important question, is that what would you say to somebody that wants to leave corporate medicine or whatever they're doing, or corporate health or whatever they're doing? What would you say to them to start their own business, start their own practice? And my last question for you is it harder being a woman in medicine or a woman in business?
Ooh, those are some great questions.
Yes.
Okay, so like I had mentioned earlier, just know your worth. Know how much you bring to the table. You know, we all spend so much time investing in our education. We're always trying to gain this knowledge. We all bring something different to the table too. You know, it's like, you know, dating, right? Each doctor is not for everybody. So
like dating. Yeah,
right.
that's
Or,
true.
and I don't want to just say doctors, but any business, when you
Right.
have a particular vibe or energy, you know, you're going to have certain followers, and for some, it may not be their cup of tea, and that's okay.
Right.
But there's space for everybody. So I think that, you know, think what is the worst that can happen? You know, if you need a hype woman, just reach out to me on Instagram.
Yes, please
Because
do.
I like love encouraging people, and I'm like, okay, like, what is your roadblock? Let me help you. Okay, you're concerned with this? I have a solution to this. Because I think as doctors, we try to find solutions and answers to everything. We're problem solvers. So I know it might be overwhelming, but we're here to like hype you up, tell you what you need to do. You know, even with some of my patients that are like younger and not in medicine, they're like, this is my field. I want to do my own thing. I'm like, okay, first thing, get your LLC, do this, do that. So
Right.
you know, we have ChatGPT now, which makes it amazing. I mean, AI is great. It's a great reference. There's so many wonderful books out there. Surround yourself with people that have great energy, that fill your cup, because, you know, energy is not destroyed. It's only transferred.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you are around people that are giving you energy. Sometimes that means being around people that are more successful than you, because that will encourage you and that will motivate you.
And feeling inspired.
Feeling
instead of feeling
inspired.
insecure.
Okay, so going
Yeah.
back to that question that you had asked, you know, when I'm around successful people, I feel honored to be
Yeah.
around their presence.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to learn from you. I think this is great. Thank you for inviting me.
Right.
So I think we need to get into a mindset where someone can teach you something different, and we should just kind of like work as, you know, collaboration.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, you know, I really, really thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your experience, and it is so lovely to see you thrive and basically show everyone, listen, you can do it. Like, you can start that business, you can leave corporate medicine, you can leave whatever job that doesn't feel like it's filling you, because nervous system regulation is the most important thing. Your environment shapes who you are. So I'm so honored to have Dr. Sabrina Indyk here, because she is really living proof that you can live your best life. So if you are interested in being her patient, she is located in Schaumburg. Her practice is called Revive Medical and Wellness, and she is fabulous. So thank you so much
Thank you for
being
having
here.
me.
Absolutely. And I'm Dr. Samiya Hashmi. Until next time, we are going to keep having real conversations with real amazing people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for visiting OneMD Health Podcast. Please like and subscribe if this podcast resonates with you. If you have any questions, please visit my website, samiyahashmimd.com.